To the Supreme God, to the great Divine Father and the great Divine Mother, thank you for your priceless blessings, for your divine light, divine love, divine power, divine healing, guidance, mercy, help, and protection. We thank you. To our great spiritual teacher, Master Cho Kokse, to all the great ones, to all the great spiritual teachers, to all the great gods and goddesses, we very humbly thank you for your great blessings, especially to the great Swami Rama, and to his great teacher, the great Bengali Baba. We thank you for your great blessings. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so let us start the session. I think we were over here, jewels of fire. Last time हमने जो पढ़ा था, taste the world and then renounce का था. Remember when we said कि ना अगर आपके अंदर disappointment है, greed है, lust है, hatred है, love, anger, jealousy, they cannot be renounced without a proper discipline, right? So it says a frustrated and a dissatisfied soul is not fit to tread the path of renunciation, right? So मतलब खाली केव के अंदर बैठने को ही मेडिटेशन करना नहीं बोलते, राइट? अनलेस आपकी सोल डिटैच हो चुकी हो प्रॉपरली फ्रॉम ऑल द वर्ल्डली स्टफ, बिकॉज इट्स एक्सपीरियंस्ड एवरीथिंग एंड इट नोस इसमें कोई फायदा नहीं है टाइम इन्वेस्ट करके, इट्स वेस्ट ऑफ माई टाइम. That soul is fit to tread the path because it's got no attachment to the pleasure or any attachment to the pain. वो सोल को फिट बोला जाता है, आइडियली स्पीकिंग. आगे चलते हैं. Jewels of fire. My master never insisted that I renounce the world and become a Swami. He wanted me to experience and decide things for myself. He always said, whatever you want to learn from me, learn, but grow independently. Whenever you need my help, I am here. If I asked him a question, he would say, are you tired? Can't you find the answer for yourself? Why should you come to me again and again with questions? I'll teach you the method of resolving questions, but I will not simply give you the answers. See, this is amazing, no? I will teach you the method of resolving questions, but I will not simply give you the answers. मैं तुम्हें तरीके बताऊंगा क्वेश्चंस को अपने आप रिजॉल्व करने के, पर मैं तुम्हें आंसर्स ऐसे आसानी से नहीं दूंगा. आपको ये मालूम होना चाहिए कि ग्रेट स्पिरिचुअल टीचर्स जो होते हैं वो अपने डिसाइपल्स को ऐसे आंसर नहीं बोल दिया करते. वो कोशिश ये करते हैं कि डिसाइपल इतनी मेहनत करें, वर्क सो हार्ड, कि जो है उनकी इनर फैकल्टीज जो कि आंसर्स को पकड़ सकती हैं, who can catch the answers, get trained. जैसे कि एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फैकल्टी होती है इंट्यूशन की. एक्चुअली इंट्यूशन से आप लिटरली चीज़ों को पकड़ सकते हो, डीपर आंसर्स, डीपर इंसाइट्स को, जो कि अदरवाइज पॉसिबल उतना नहीं होता है. बट यू कैन कैच होल्ड ऑफ दीज थिंग्स विद इंट्यूशन. सो इंट्यूशन को ट्रेन करना बहुत जरूरी होता है एक्चुअली ऑन द स्पिरिचुअल पाथ. और इंट्यूशन को ट्रेन करना ही नहीं, इंट्यूशन को रिलायबल बनाना भी बहुत जरूरी होता है एक्चुअली. सो समथिंग लाइक दैट. Let's go forward. He tried his best to tempt me with worldly things. He said, go into the world, become a high government official. If you are attached to me and only want to be with me, that is not good. I want you to settle in the world. I will bestow wealth on you. I told him, that is not what I want. He asked, are you sure? And what he did then, you might just not believe. He took me into the mountains and said, you love jewels, don't you? It was indeed true. I was inordinately fond of beautiful things. He knew my hidden desire. So he said, here, look at this. I was surprised to see a huge heap of jewels before me. I blinked my eyes in disbelief. I wanted to test whether it was a mirage or something real. He said, it's not an illusion. Go on, pick them up. I assure you they're genuine. Take them. They're for you. You'll be the richest man in India. Now, son, let me go. I want to go to the mountains far away. My tears started flowing, and I said, are you throwing me off? Are you telling me to accept these jewels instead of you? I don't want them. I want to be with you. Then he said, if you want to be with me, look over there. Do you see that lofty flame? I looked and was astonished to see huge walls of fire. He continued, if you can go through that fire, you can follow me. Which do you choose? You must decide. How much desire do you have for the world and how much for the light? I said, I prefer fire to temptations. I want to be reborn. There is no other way. And thus I chose to follow the path of renunciation. The path of renunciation is like walking on the razor's edge. It is so difficult that with every step there is a chance of falling. Selfish desire is the strongest of all the obstacles one encounters. This is a good lesson for all of us. Selfish desire is the strongest of all the obstacles one encounters. Only those who are fearless and free from the charms, temptations, and attractions of the world can tread this path. One who has directed all of his desires one pointedly, strengthening only the desire for enlightenment, can succeed. The path of renunciation is rarely chosen. It is not meant for everyone, but those who know, but those who enjoy life in renunciation are blessed. The path of action, however, is equally helpful, provided one knows how to do one's actions selflessly and skillfully, living in the world yet remaining above. The goal of both remains the same. So, ये तो बहुत simple, straightforward था, right? I'll give you one more example. Lord Buddha, he was teaching the path of renunciation, right? Ki become a renunciate and so and so and so, right? He was teaching the monkhood ka path. At that time, monkhood was kind of very um, like Lord Buddha had made it something which was very looked up to actually. So here's the interesting bit. Lord Buddha went to one of his travel and journey. वहां जाके उनको एक व्यक्ति मिले, मुझे नाम नहीं पता कि क्या नाम है उनका. He met somebody and Lord Buddha said, oh, you know what, तुम तो बहुत कैलिबर के हो, why don't you come and become a monk? And the person said कि मैं आपके पास तो मैं नहीं आने वाला हूँ, I'm not going to become a monk, but I would still love to learn how to evolve. मुझे फिर भी evolve होने का है, पर मैं आपके पास नहीं आऊंगा. And then Lord Buddha said, okay, sure. And that is when Lord Buddha gave the teaching of Tantric Buddhism, which is called the Vajrayana Buddhism, the Tantric Buddhism. That is when the Lord Buddha gave that teaching to a worldly man. Listen, to a worldly man, the teaching was given of evolution, very rapid evolution. Tantric Buddhism was exactly that. Now, just to simplify it further, Arhatic Yoga is also for worldly people. All of you know this, right? Arhatic Yoga is a practice for worldly people, right? Now, this is actually really important to know and understand that the techniques used in Arhatic Yoga have, the external techniques like the blue triangle and things like that. They are objects which are used to cleanse and purify. For example, I can use a let me show you. This is a Tantric Buddhism object, right? It's called as a Purba. I can use this to so-called clean or purify, or I can use the technique taught in the blue triangle technique. I mean, as a part of the blue triangle technique to cleanse and purify also. They work exactly the same way. Blue triangle, however, since it's empowered by हमारे teachers ने उसको empower किया है, so it's a very very powerful technique. ठीक है? So I was trying to tell you कि there are so many amazing things कि सिर्फ एक ही पाथ नहीं होता है. There's not only one specific path. The only requirement is become selfless. आप किसी भी path पे हो, become selfless and see true value of things. बस. So that pretty much is the spiritual path. Pretty much is become selfless, ideally the best that you can, and try and see true value of the things. अब दोनों काम आसान नहीं है, दोनों काम में बहुत मेहनत लगती है, बिकॉज एक काम जो है वो सोल को एम्पावर करता है, दूसरा काम जो है आपके परसेप्शन को एक्यूरेट बनाता है. That's it. आगे चलते हैं. My first days as a Swami. The first day after I was ordained in the Swami order, a master said, "Do you know that to be a Swami you have to beg alms?" I said, "Huh?" He said, "The ego in you says that you exist independently of others. You have to purify this ego, and you cannot do so without becoming humble. I will send you begging to houses where the people are poor. Then you will come to know who you are." I said, "Okay." I'll never forget what happened then. I was healthy, was wearing silken garb. Can you believe it? A beggar in silk. I used to walk freely with no cares. According to yoga, you should stand and walk straight, but then people are likely to think you unduly proud. I went to beg alms early in the morning and came upon a woman who was milking a cow. She was singing and milking and had an earthen pot between her knees. I said, "Narayan Hari." This is the name of Lord which Swamis use to announce themselves. She was so startled that she jumped up and pot fell and broke. I thought, "Oh Lord." She was so angry and started shouting, "Such a strong, healthy man begging? You are a burden to the nation and a burden to yourself. Who taught you this begging? You have money to wear a silk garment and yet you are begging?" By the way, Swami Rama, for taking sannyasa, looks like this. Handsome person, man. Such a handsome person. I felt very small. I implored her, "Please don't call me names." She said, "This was an antique pot given to me by my mother-in-law. You parasite, get out of my sight." She was so attached to the pot that she went on and on. I went back to my master. It had been his custom to ask me every day, "Have you taken your food?" I expected him to ask me that day as usual, but he didn't. The whole day I remained quiet, and so did he. He was quiet by nature all the time. In the evening, I complained, "Today you did not ask me if I've taken my food." He said, "I did not because you are a Swami now." "What do you mean by that?" He answered, "A Swami is a master of himself and a master of all his appetites." I said, "So, this Swami business means you will not take care of me?" He told me, "Now you're a Swami and I am a Swami. What is the difference between you and me? You wanted to become a Swami, now take care of yourself. Why should you use me as a crutch?" I became very sad and pensive and decided that I should be independent now. I said, "I promise that from this day onward, I will never beg alms, no matter what happens. If God wants me to live, I will live and meditate, but I will never beg alms." He said, "If you want to stick to your promise, that's your choice. I have nothing to say. You are a Swami." With this vow, I went and sat on the bank of Ganges. People came to see me, and people came to see me there, and everybody assumed that someone else was caring for me. Many brought flowers and bowed before me, but no one brought fruit or anything to eat. For 13 days, nobody asked me whether I had eaten. I became so weak that I could hardly walk. I thought, why did I ever do such a silly thing as become a Swami? After 13 days, I started weeping. I began talking to the Divine Mother. I said, I have taken a vow to follow this path religiously, but there is not even a loaf of bread for me. Suddenly, I saw a hand coming out of the water, only a hand holding a bowl filled with food. Wow, this is fancy stuff, man. Suddenly, I saw a hand coming out of the water, only a hand holding the bowl filled with food. It started coming towards me, and I heard a woman's voice saying, Here, this is for you. I took the bowl and ate. No matter how much I ate, the bowl did not empty. I kept that bowl for 3 years. I used to distribute the food from it to many people, and it wouldn't be exhausted. If you put sweets in it, you could not fill it. This was witnessed by thousands of people who used to come and see it. They would continue to pour milk in it, but it never overflowed. I became a slave to that bowl. People did not learn anything from me. They came just to see the miraculous bowl. My master advised, throw it in the Ganges, and I followed his advice. Wow, that's fancy stuff, man. Some magical objects. So which means if you basically go, no, अगर आप गंगा जाओगे तो you may find the bowl also lying somewhere in the Ganga. God presents many temptations to you when you are on the path. Only when you reject all the temptations will you have arrived. When a little child weeps, what does the mother do? The mother may first give the child a candy. The child goes on crying. The mother tries several other bribes, a doll, a cookie. The child still does not stop, and the mother picks up the child and holds her. It is some time before the mother holds the child. First, she tries several other attractions. The same thing happens to us on the path of self realization. Begging alms is a must for a monk, but a humiliation to others. I realize that those who totally live on the grace of the Almighty receive the necessary food to eat and shelter to live. Worrying for food and shelter is not complete faith. I will believe till the last breath of my life that God alone is my property, and depending on any other thing except God will bring disaster in my life. I find my Lord always walking before me, providing all the things that I need. Sikh Christians, they call it faith or the power of faith or living in faith, right? Um, a simple logic is this, or a simple way to understand is this. अगर आपकी life is mostly centered around activities that you do selflessly, whether you're a monk or you're not a monk, अगर अपनी एक्टिविटीज को सेल्फलेसली करते हो, अपने बारे में नहीं सोचते हो, दूसरों की भलाई के बारे में सोचते हो, मेडिटेशन के बारे में सोचते हो, so because you're trying to walk on a specific path, you will be taken care of. You will be taken care of because you're trying to walk on a specific path. You will be taken care of. And this is very accurate and very true, to be honest. If you're actually trying to walk on a specific path, you will in most cases be taken care of. If अगर आपका selflessness is quite high or reasonably high, or you're trying to progressively become selfless, and you live a life of renunciation and service, most of your needs that you need to survive will be taken care of. Most, somehow or the other. This is how the philosophy of monkhood is, and this is exactly what the monks sort of live on in that sense. Like they are, what is the word? Monks are a living example that you don't need to be very financially secure to live a very purposeful life. आपके पास बहुत धन दौलत नहीं होनी चाहिए. Monks एक एग्जाम्पल है. आपके पास बहुत धन दौलत नहीं नहीं भी होगी तो भी ठीक है, आप पर पर्पसफुल लाइफ, अच्छी लाइफ, काम की लाइफ जी सकोगे। बिग सेंस, राइट? सो इसके पहले जो एग्जांपल आया था वो ज्वेल्स लोगे या फायर लोगे वाला जो एग्जांपल था, कि अगर आप ज्वेल्स नहीं चाहते हो उसके मास्टर एम्पर, तो आपको फायर से चल के जाना पड़ेगा एक्चुअली। एंड ही देखिए, मैं फायर चूज करता हूँ, आई एम श्योर ही वुड हैव वो फायर के थ्रू चल के गए भी होंगे एक्चुअली। इसी को एक एग्जाम्पल के फॉर्म में दिया गया है, उसका नाम है राम एंड सीता वाला, राइट? सीता वॉक्स थ्रू द फायर राम के पास आने के लिए, राइट? उसको बोलते हैं अग्नि परीक्षा, राइट? डू यू गाइस नो दैट, राइट? अग्नि परीक्षा, क्या? सीता वॉक्स थ्रू द फायर। अब आपको अगर थोड़ा सा मैं आपको और आइडिया इसमें दूं, तो फायर का जो पाथ होता है ना, वो बेसिकली प्यूरिफिकेशन का प्रोसेस होता है एक्चुअली, एक तरीके से देखा जाए तो। प्यूरिफिकेशन का प्रोसेस का मतलब ये है कि आपका सिस्टम, आपका जो क्या बोलना चाहिए, आपका, इसको बोलते हैं टेस्ट ऑफ फायर एक्चुअली। टेस्ट ऑफ एयर, वाटर, अर्थ, फायर, चार होते हैं जो कि इनिशिएट्स को पास करने पड़ते हैं, राइट? टेस्ट ऑफ फायर इसीलिए लिया जाता है कि आपको नेक्स्ट लेवल पे लेके जाया जा सके। इन इन समरी ये होता है। सीता जो है, फेमिनिन एस्पेक्ट, वो रिप्रेजेंट करती है आपकी इनकारनेटेड सोल। राम रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं आपकी हायर सोल, राइट? जिन लोगों को नहीं पता, ये एक कोर्स होता है अचीविंग वननेस विद हायर सोल, उसमें सिखाते हैं, ठीक है? इनकारनेट सोल एंड हायर सोल, ठीक है? द इनकारनेट सोल यानी कि सीता जो है, इट हैज टू गो थ्रू द टेस्ट ऑफ फायर टू मर्ज और यूनाइट विद द हायर सोल। मतलब ये है कि फायर का टेस्ट उसको बोलते हैं, आई थिंक उसको, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा क्या बोलते हैं उसको। एनीवेज, देयर इज, बिफोर यू टेक द अरहत इनिशिएशन, उसके पहले एक टेस्ट ऑफ फायर होता है, समथिंग लाइक दैट। सो बहुत ही पावरफुल टेस्ट होता है एक्चुअली। उसमें इट्स लाइक आपकी सारी की सारी इम्प्यूरिटीज बह जाती हैं, पूरी की पूरी, कुछ नहीं बचता। यू कम आउट प्योर गोल्ड उसके बाद, समथिंग लाइक दैट। कंप्लीटली प्यूरिफाइड, कंप्लीटली प्यूरिफाइड। दैट इज द पावर ऑफ टेस्ट ऑफ फायर। सब खाली आप आ पाते हो और कुछ नहीं आ पाता उसके अलावा, सिर्फ आप खालिस सोना, वही आ पाता है बस उसके आगे। सो या इसलिए स्पिरिचुअल पाथ को एज अ पाथ ऑफ फायर या पाथ ऑफ यू नो, उससे भी रिप्रेजेंट किया जाता है। इसलिए कभी कभी जो सेंट स्वामी होते हैं, वो आपको आग पे चल के दिखाते हैं। आपको आपको पता है ना, एक वो कोल का वो दिखा के कि वो आई कैन वॉक ऑन फायर, ये वो, बट समथिंग लाइक दैट। A constant persecution. At the age of 21, I lived in a thatched hut on a bank of the Ganges, 5 miles from Rishikesh. Because I lived alone, many people thought I was a great sage. If you isolate yourself, wear funny garb, have some scriptures near you, even though you never study them, and ignore everyone who comes to see you, then people conclude that you must be a great Swami. People would arrive to see me all day long. I did not have time to do my practices. From morning till evening, they would bow before me and offer flowers, fruit, or money. For while I exulted in it, मतलब उसको कुछ टाइम तक उसमें मजा आने लगा था. But slowly it began to repel me. I thought, what is all this? Sheer waste of time. I started getting angry with visitors. The people reacted, how is it possible for a Swami to get angry? He is just pretending to be angry and to avoid us. And they came in even greater numbers. that, that really irritated me. I completely lost my calm and balance and started calling visitors bad names. But they would respond, sir, your bad names are like flowers for us. They are blessings. I had to run away from that place. I thought to myself, I still have not conquered my anger. Wow. This happens to me, to many renunciates. They are constantly disturbed and distracted by visitors. A Swami must learn not to create attraction and not to live in such a way that his practice is interrupted. A Swami's life is a constant persecution. People believe he is high above any ordinary human being. In India, the Swami or the title of Swami means a person who is all powerful, a healer, a preacher, a doctor, and much more. A Swami is put in such a difficult situation that it would drive an ordinary person crazy. People do not realize that some Swamis are still beginners on the path, that others have trodden the path a bit, and that only a few have attained the goal. This lack of differentiation creates expectations which confuse both the people and the Swamis. It is not easy to extricate oneself from this confusion. Whenever I was truthful in telling people I'm still practicing, there is nothing to share, please leave me alone, they would interpret these words in whatever way suited them and come to me more and more. When I lived far in the woods, I was still disturbed. Sometimes I became fed up with this Swamihood. It is not necessary for one to wear the garb of renunciate to attain enlightenment. What actually matters is the constant spiritual sadhana or the disciplining mind, action, and speech. How wonderful it is to be a Swami, but how difficult it is to be a real one. ये इसको एक बार और पढ़ते हैं. It is not necessary for one to wear the garb of renunciate to attain enlightenment. ये बहुत जरूरी है. आप में से, हम सब में से कोई भी एनलाइटमेंट को अटेन कर सकता है बिना वो स्वामी वाला कपड़ा डाले हुए. आराम से, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. What actually matters is constant spiritual sadhana of disciplining the mind, disciplining action and speech. यानी कि thoughts, words and actions को constantly discipline करना. How wonderful it is to be a Swami, but how difficult it is to be a real one. Wow, this is amazing. है ना? आपको समझ में आया ना? जब भी वो एक आई थिंक 21 ईयर्स की एज में वो गंगा के किनारे पे कहीं बैठे हुए थे. एक हट में लोग उनके पास आने लगे बिकॉज स्वामी थे एंड लोगों को चाहिए होता है कि वो किसी की तरफ देख पाए करके. एंड जैसे जैसे वो आते गए लोग ये इनको मना करते गए कि देखो मैं स्वामी नहीं हूँ, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है. पर लोग वो सुनना ही नहीं है. वो लोगों को बस ये लग रहा है कि उनको दूर भगा रहे हैं. तो लोग और आने लग गए और आने लग गए. तंग आके उन्होंने एक बार किसी पे चिल्ला दिया. और उसके बाद लोग तो ये बोल रहे हैं कि अरे आपका चिल्लाना भी हमारे लिए हमारे फूलों के बराबर है एंड क्या क्या तो बोल रहे थे मतलब. एंड उसके बाद आई थिंक ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम पीपल और ज़्यादा होते गए तो वहां से भाग गए उस टाइम पे ये. बट लेसन इसका ये था कि इनकी प्रैक्टिस नहीं हो पा रही थी और लोग सुबह से लेकर रात तक इनके सामने ही आते रहते थे. वो उनको हीलर समझते हैं, टीचर समझते हैं, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर समझते हैं, टीचर समझते हैं. और जो कि बहुत सारी बातें सही नहीं भी होंगी इस वक्त या आज की स्टेज में. सो समथिंग लाइक दैट. एंड ये बता रहे हैं कि पाथ पे ये सब चीज़ें डिस्ट्रैक्शंस होती है एक्चुअली. कांस्टेंट साधना जो होती है मतलब रियल साधना वो आप कांस्टेंट उसमें करते हो, क्या बोलते हैं, अपने माइंड को कॉन्स्टेंटली आप वॉच क्या बोलते हैं वॉच करते हो कि आपके थॉट्स को, आपके स्पीच को, आपके एक्शन को. हमारे स्पिरिचुअल टीचर जो है वो मास्टर चोकक्स हुए, उन्होंने भी इसी बात पे एम्फसाइज किया है कि अपने थॉट्स पे प्रॉपरली वॉच करो, अपनी स्पीच को वॉच करो, अपने एक्शंस को वॉच करो, पावरफुल बनाओ उनको. जितने वो कंट्रोल में आएंगे उतनी आपकी सोल की जो पावर है वो बढ़ना शुरू हो जाएगी. इसको ना एक और बुक है जिसका नाम है एट द फीट द मास्टर. उसमें सेम चीज को इस फॉर्म में बोला गया है कि डेवलप सेल्फ कंट्रोल, डेवलप सेल्फ कंट्रोल इन थॉट्स, सेल्फ कंट्रोल इन स्पीच, सेल्फ कंट्रोल इन एक्शंस. मतलब आपके मुंह से कोई वो बात ना निकले जिसका कि आप बाद में उसको आप रिपेंट करो. Say nothing that you will repent later on. Think nothing which कि आप ऐसी कोई बात ना सोचो जिसको कि अगर यूट्यूब पे आपके थॉट्स को लाइव में डाल दिया जाए कि आदमी क्या सोच रहा है, तो आपको एक भी थॉट का एम्बैरेसमेंट ना हो। आप समझ रहे हो? अगर आपके थॉट्स को यूट्यूब लाइव पे प्ले कर दिया जाए, या मतलब लाइव इंस्टाग्राम पे या कहीं भी प्ले कर दिया जाए, और पूरा का पूरा मतलब आपके हर आदमी आपको देख रहे हैं, तो आपके थॉट्स इस तरह के कभी नहीं होने चाहिए कि आपको लगे ये मैं क्यों क्यों सोच रहा हूँ। कंट्रोल, दैट लेवल ऑफ कंट्रोल कि माइंड बस सोचे ही ना जो आप नहीं सोचना चाहते। लिविंग ऑन अ माउंट ऑफ पेबल्स। If you're a seeker after enlightenment, doing your practice, and people repeatedly come and disturb you, you will not be able to complete your practice successfully. Yet in India, it is a custom that if you're a Swami, you have to answer the questions of all those who come to you. Many people think that Swamis have the remedies for all the ills of life. Such people sometimes benefit from this belief and are healed. The result is likely to be exaggerated stories and acceptance of a beginner as an accomplished healer. This poor creature cannot continue his practice and forgets his goal. He wastes his time and life remaining a Swami but unrealized. One of the best ways to escape from such problems is to remain in disguise and to do one's sadhana. There are many mystics who are really great in their actual life but pretend to be imbalanced so that they are not disturbed. See, pretend to be imbalanced. कि बहुत सारे ग्रेट मिस्टेक्स हैं इस वर्ल्ड में, एक्चुअल लाइफ में, बट वो ढोंग करते हैं कि वो दिमागी तौर पे सही नहीं है ताकि उन्हें कोई डिस्टर्ब ना करें. I know of one instance where people keep bringing food and money to a Swami. He did not want them to do this because they kept disturbing him. So he made a sign which said, anybody who loves me will bring only a pebble. People concluded that the Swami loved pebbles, and each day many people would bring him pebbles. One pebble, two pebbles, three pebbles. They collected pebbles from the roads according to what whims, to their whims. After some time, there was a veritable mount of pebbles, and Swami lived on top of that. People started calling him Kankariya Baba, which means the Swami of pebbles. This helped him to remain aloof. Hey, दिमाग लगाया रे. Then Swami started to speak a language which nobody understood. If anybody came to see him, he would say, do, 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 do. He did the same thing to me. So I went to him at night when he was all alone and he explained, since people disturb me, I've learned a new language and no one can converse with me. The Swami taught me to always remain in such a way as to not allow the people of the world to disturb me. A human being has many personalities because the ego has many faces. Some of them we can detect and analyze, but many remain unknown to us. The Swami concluded that the world actually worships the ego in the name of God. See, the world actually worships the ego in the name of God. When the lower ego is made aware of that self-existent reality which stands behind it, then it starts turning inwards. Such an ego is called the higher ego or the higher self, basically, right? The higher ego or the higher self is helpful, but lower ego makes one miserable. Wow, that's actually really good. अच्छा, आज की स्टडी को आई एम कंक्लूडिंग over here because I have to do my remaining packing and I have to leave in some time. So still 20 more minutes, but I'll finish the study off for now, right now over here. Okay? So closing prayer. To the Supreme God, to the great Divine Father and the great Divine Mother, thank you for your great blessings. Thank you so much to our great spiritual teacher, to all the great spiritual teachers, to all the great gods and goddesses, to all the great, great ones. We very, very humbly thank you for your great blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Let's see you the next Saturday. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.